Hi everybody. It's been like a week or something, and I wanted to share a quick thought with everyone. Um, so one thing I've been thinking about is that people really have a desire to fit in, no matter what age and what stage of life. We have just an innate need to sometimes fit into the crowd. And when I was younger, I would oftentimes see women who were a little bit more soft-spoken and demure, and I would think, wow, that's what femininity looks like. Like, that's what I want to be like. I want to be like that girl who is quiet and subdued and doesn't have strong opinions about things. And I really looked up to that and thought that that was like the paradigm for femininity. And it extended beyond that for me. Like, even when I was a teenager and I would have different music, there was music playing in my friend's car, and everyone in the car would want one type of music, and I would think that that was the worst choice ever, but I would end up choosing something very different that they didn't necessarily relate to, and I would always feel like the odd one out. So little things and big things sometimes would be reminders for me of how important it was sometimes to feel like you fit in, and when it makes sense to take a stand and not. And at a certain point, I do believe that we all need to own who we are, and we need to come to a maturity in our lives where we need to own who we are. So, and that's not to say I wouldn't challenge myself to continue to grow day to day. If I need to develop myself, then I want to be all on board and all in to do that. And I challenge others also to confront themselves all the time. I just think we also have to be okay and embrace who we are as people. So, for example, when I was single, my boss, who was very well-meaning, called me into his office and told me that he felt like I needed to go about this whole dating process, this whole thing called dating, in an entirely different way, put more effort in, make more phone calls, make more meetings. Like, I was just letting months and months roll by with nothing. And that was like who he was. I mean, that really captured him as a person. Like, he was all about the effort and putting in that effort every moment. And that was like a defining point of his essence. For me, it wasn't that way. I mean, I like to put in effort, but I didn't feel like it was healthy or necessary for me to put in effort to that degree in order to get the results that I was looking for. And at a certain point, I had to say to myself, it's okay that I'm different than he is, or that I have a different view of what success looks like than he does. We'll both end up getting to where we want to go. It's just going to be in a different way. But it's not so easy and not so clear all the time. One thing I heard all the time from people I would go out with was that, I was dating other Orthodox Jewish guys, and I would hear all the time that how out of the box I was, and I would really not like that term because it would make me feel so, I wanted to have some level of normality, but I always felt like when and it was not meant as an insult, but I always felt like what I was bringing to the table for a lot of the people I was going out with was this feeling of like, I'm not in the box. And that took a while for me to kind of get on board with. So I'm all about playing to my strengths and people playing to their strengths as well. One of my biggest things that I heard when I was on campus was that I was normal and that I was relatable. And to me, being normal is not like a huge compliment, but in the context of being connected with other people who are at a different age and a different affiliation, being normal is actually a huge compliment, and I really took it. So, okay, to conclude, I wanted to share with you 3 ways that I am very different currently, and I have very different opinions than most people that I know, and here they are. So, number 1, most people that I know say that I should not get involved. When they see 2 people arguing or 2 people having a fight, I hear oftentimes advice, don't get involved. Not necessarily towards me, towards others. I am of the opinion that if I can get involved, I want to, because maybe I could be a conduit for peace. And in fact, we see with Aaron, Moses' brother, he was very much one who chased peace, and he did so by getting involved. So sometimes people say it's not your business, don't get involved, it's not a good idea. I always want to be someone who gets involved. So that's number 1. Number 2, I move forward with a sort of doer's mentality, and a lot of times I'm told maybe stop, reflect, research, don't move forward so quickly. So I get that there's advantages and disadvantages to moving forward and having that energy of just plowing through. For me, it works for me. Like the ROI on moving forward is much greater for me than not moving forward. So I always opt in on moving forward, even though I know that it's not always the popular choice. Last but not least, protective parenting. I've heard a lot of current school of thought thinking that parenting should be, letting your child go through life without the protective bubble and letting like the school of hard knocks be their teacher. For me, I actually like the idea that a parent is there to protect their child. The child is going to learn all about the hard knocks along the way, but we as parents should do as much as we possibly can to, cushion to a degree and to a certain limitation. But I know that I'm in the vast minority. A lot of parents think that you shouldn't cushion anything anymore. But Sarah, Abraham's wife Sarah, she actually wanted her son, Yitzchak, Isaac, to have a protection and shelter and not be exposed to Ishmael, who was a bad influence. So we see in biblical times that that actually is a totally valid way of thinking. Anyway, just 3 ways that I'm very different than other people. I'm sure I have dozens more. I'm sure you have more as well. I just wanted to recommend to everyone, including myself, we should own our differences and love each other, not despite them, but because of them. Okay? Have a good night. Bye.